a highly requested video. The types of video that is the most viewed ever on anybody's channel, ever. The sexiest perfumes. Sexy is such a loaded and yet universally understood term. It's always kind of in the eye of the beholder. I'm not here to say like the cliche words of, you know, the sexy is not about what you wear, and it's not about what you eat, it's not about what's on your face, it's not about how you smell, blah, blah, blah. Sexy is yada yada. It's subject. It is. And yet we constantly talk about sexual appeal, we talk about seduction, we talk about different kinds of things that attract us to other people, that put us in a specific kind of mood. So if there are perfumes that can give us a little bit of this more like put together, ready to go to work kind of mood, there are perfumes that can put us to sleep. Why can't there be perfumes that make us feel sexy or put us in that particular mind of in that particular line of thinking? So I assembled here a selection of perfumes that I think correspond to the kind of moods or styles or personas that every once in a while you can find sexy, or when you exude that kind of sexy scenario yourself. And we want to start with one of my kind of like the how it all starts. Usually the kind of things that are sexy are not necessarily start with this like hormonal craziness. Often things that we find sexy yet unattainable, like, you know, that girl that is a dream, like she's so pure, she's so elevated in the way that, well, a girl or boy, I don't know, that we think about it. It's like the person that is a dream, the person has this pure fantasy, the person who is almost beyond anything material or physical, and yet we still fantasize about them. This kind of escaping beauty in youth is Cartier Bosé de Volée. It's this green water lily with actually the white lily note in it. It's very thin. It has a lot of silage and projection. It immediately kind of escapes from you and runs away. Yet it's so pure, elegant, and fragile. You know, it's like that girl who's wearing too light of a dress for a really chilly weather, that she's running through the streets and she's wearing high heels. I don't know, like I'm trying to give you some kind of like idea. And she's just wearing this like light chiffon dress, and she's clearly very cold, but she's running so fast because she's about to meet him or her. If I was to think about the different kind of girls, right, like those stylistic scenarios or personas, I would think that Cartier Bosé de Volée is that kind of light, dreamy, the dream girl that always escapes, that is always out of touch. The next two perfumes that I want to show you represent the kind of sexy that is the girl next door. This is the kind of casual hangouts, nothing fancy, laying low, Netflix and chill, and yet there's something just so cozy and casual and warm and cuddly about her. So, okay, let's start from this one. For me, La Mia Perle by La Perle is the cuddliest of all scents. It kind of smells like vanilla ice cream without like too much sweetness, with a little bit of a sophistication of spices added to the mix. La Perle always makes the most exquisitely soft and nudie kind of perfumes, but this is definitely that wins it for me of all of the perfumes I ever smelled from them. La Mia Perle, and like, look how beautiful is the packaging itself. I'm in love with the form factor, with the invisible straw, with everything basically about this perfume. This fragrance represents to me this moment of being just so close to cross the line and yet not quite there. And sometimes these moments are even more precious than one comes after, you know? So this is what I nominate the sexiest casual kind of pajamas party girl next door. The second one, called Dangerous Complicity by Ted Libre-D'Orange, is a little bit more, it's like, I think like we graduated to college at this point. This is like 21 and above, and still it's very soft, nudie. But what makes this a little bit more kind of special, like something you don't expect, is the note of rum in it. So this is kind of, again, Netflix and chill, you know, just like simple t-shirt or like just a hoodie. But all of a sudden you see like picking up, like there's like some very lacy underwear picking up from that very casual Netflix and chill attire. So this is what Dangerous Complicity is to me. It's kind of like a bit of like hidden, kind of like sexy hint that, you know, it is not what it appears to be. There's like way more to this story than just, oh, I was just, you know, I was just hanging out, just a hoodie, nothing special. And then you discover there was like 2 hours of prep before that Netflix and chill event. So this is what Dangerous Complicity is to me, that kind of like, again, girl next door, but already with a little bit of a subtle, sexy hint of rum to it. If we're talking about the kind of girls who are just like unicorns, almost, you know, like this like Japanese Barbie doll kind of stuff, like they're sugary sweet, everything is pink, everything is girly, everything is like girly to the max, you know, to the absolute pinnacle of girliness. I would nominate Killian, Let's Settle This Argument Like Adults in the Bedroom. There's nothing adulty about this one, I must say, because this is a very sweet vanilla milk with an opening of fig. So the opening gives it a little bit of a kind of like almost surprising freshness, but almost within 10 minutes it migrates to this absolute adorable pinky cutie pie, rosy cheeks kind of vanilla milk. It's just so cute. It's it's the cutest of them all. The cutest little unicorn kind of girl that goes to festivals with, you know, like white wings attached to her back. And that would be Adults by Killian. Now we're now we're in college. Sexy Librarian. This is a quiet sophistication with a hidden perversion to it. This is the kind of person who almost on the surface seems asexual. They're almost dry. They're not into any of this primitive, earthly, you know, things at all. They're all about, you know, the high motivations of medieval poetry in this, I don't know, like Shakespeare. And yet you almost feel there's some kind of like a little crazy. There's a little bit that is just off there. And if I wanted to nominate a fragrance to represent that kind of sexiness, the Sexy Librarian, like in kind of like a bookworm that doesn't seem to be that dry as they pretend to be, it would be Quartier Latin by Memo. Here we have so much powder, spice, and almost a little bit of a dust to it, and yet it wrapped in such a quietly seductive, warming up on your skin and becoming ever so kind of like you start kind of losing your mind the more you smell it in. This kind of gourmand spices, they grow on you. They don't jump on you straight from the beginning. It doesn't overpower you with any kind of liquid sugar or caramel type of a scent. No, it appears almost like, oh, this is a very quiet, powdery type of a scent, a little bit of sweetness, but you know, it's kind of like, it's nothing to do with sultry, musky sexiness. Oh, no, no, no. And yet the more you breathe it in, the more it opens up and just kind of like, you kind of like become enveloped in this powdery, gourmandy, warm very sensual ambiance. So yeah, Sexy Librarian goes to Quartier Latin by Memo. Next, I'm gonna take a little bit of a detour to the first big relationship. You know, this first love. Finally, it's mutual. Finally, you're like both ready to go. Everything is on the table. And you just dive into it. Everything is mixed. Lust, poetry, dreams, unfulfilled hopes, misunderstandings, misconceptions about what love even is and how to build a relationship. This is like just a complete mess of feelings and just like young people learning their way around relationships and love. And if I had to nominate a fragrance to represent that kind of sexiness, it would be Elle by Yves Saint Laurent. Unfortunately, almost impossible to find in the United States, easily can find in Europe. So if at any point, if you have friends in Europe, or if you're about to travel, England, France, Netherlands, and a lot of places, you can find it pretty easily. To me, it has this perfect mixture of seductiveness and sweetness and a little bit of hit of gourmand, but it's not cliche, it's not poppy. It has this very well balanced seductive rose in the middle of it as well. Yeah, everything is just so elevated and dreamy, yet it has enough of the heaviness in it that you definitely realize the sensual and kind of like sexual components to that relationship. So Elle, Yves Saint Laurent, your first big passionate love story. Now let's talk about sex as it is. There's always a period in almost everybody's life when people try to kind of like self-actualize and realize themselves through their body. What their body likes, what their body smells like, what other people's bodies smell like, what is the chemistry aspect. So like all of this acquiring very, very physiological experiences in life. And here, obviously, it has to be a perfume. As an embodiment of that, it has to be some heavy, seductive musk. And looking at all of the musks that I own and all of the musks that I could think of, this is definitely takes the crown. Classic Narciso Rodriguez for her eau de parfum. The level of just out of this world physical, ripe sexual energy that it projects is just unparalleled. I don't know if any other perfumes that are screaming about a night full of lust. It's purely physiological. There's no any kind of dreams or emotional constructs involved in this. This is pure lust. Narciso Rodriguez for her eau de parfum. I don't even dare to describe it. I did the best I could. You just have to try it for yourself and see what you think. Imagine that you've done this, you've done that, you dreamed, you dated, you Netflix and chilled, you fell in love head over heels, then there were the crazy years, and now you're ready to fall in love as an adult. You're kind of like coming to a firm grip on who you are and what you like, but you still don't want your relationship or your like sexy nights to be all about the practicalities of the relationships, right? Like, oh, like, is this person stable? Are they reliable? Do you have the same values? All of this is very important to you at this point, but you still want to feel that, you know, you still want to feel the flirtation again. Feel a little bit of these va-va-voom, kind of like these little bit of butterflies in your stomach. So the one that I would highly recommend to consider for those like third, fourth dates when you know you like each other, you know you're like about to cross the boundary, like you're about to really get into each other, and you want to do it thoughtfully, and you want to go even though you're being careful, you also don't want to wait anymore. So that would be Elisab Essence Number 1 Rose. It is both elegant and yet it's both gourmand, it's seductive, and it's almost like a parfait of roses. It's not as animalistic and crazy physiologically musky as Narciso Rodriguez for her, and yet it's kind of like when you're holding it in, you're just waiting for the right moment, but you're ready. You know you like each other. You know you align on so many important points, and at this point you are celebrating what's about to happen. So yeah, that's Elisab Essence Number 1. This is their boutique line. I think you can find it with reasonable prices. I mean Sephora prices online. I got myself from eBay if I remember correctly. It's beautiful. It's both sophisticated but still very sensual, gourmandy, warm, and a little bit powdery. Now we're going toward the kind of sexy that comes from really knowing your partner. You know what you like. You've taught each other so much, you shared so much, and every time when you think of a sexy night together, there's a certain sense of comfort, familiarity, and just pleasure. There's no craziness, there's no drama, there's no any kind of uncertainty. You know you have each other, and that's precisely what you want that night. You want this familiar, joyful, masterful, like a dance that you just know to the T how to dance. And if I chose a perfume to embody that, that would be Le Parfum by Lalique. It's feminine, balanced, beautiful. And I think like the main thing, it's very sensual, but yet it's balanced. It's the kind of perfume that every time I wear it, every single time, I get compliments and people ask me what I'm wearing. It is not improper, but it's also very... It is essential is probably the best word I can come up with. It is warm, but it's not too sweet. It has a little bit of finely milled spices, but it's not prickly. It's just everything is so well-rounded, well-loved, and comfortable about this perfume. And the last one, we're gonna add a little bit of kink, just a little bit, just a teeny tiny bit. For those, you know, for those ones who are connoisseurs. I was thinking about what kind of perfume could really embody this sense of both seduction and kind of this like this longing emotion, the longing itself, but the one that constantly gets tarnished by pain, maybe by fear, maybe some of it is just pure physical pain or discomfort. And this kind of sexual longing, I think, is really well represented by, oddly enough, but Cheap and Chic by Moschino. The way that they wrapped their unapologetically synthetic DNA with kind of evil florals is just fascinating to me. It's constantly turning its facets. It's both bright and punchy, but it's also soft and floral. And ever so subtly, it just stings you or just cuts you with just like an unforeseen sharp edge that it has. It's truly like the only way I can describe it, evil flowers. Cheap and Chic by Moschino, yeah. I find this fragrance quite kinky when you think of that kind of sexiness. And the last one, the fantasy, every boy's fantasy, the teacher, the boss, cold-blooded woman that it's all about the profit, the impact, what do you bring to the table. And there is a very particular kind of sexiness that comes from people who are so laser focused on achieving and on driving their ambitions forward. It's, in a way, it's almost ripped off of any kind of flirtation, sensuality, and softness. But that exact, almost fanatical drive that some people drive, and this kind of angry passion that they have for their mission, for their job, or for their ambition, I find that this really is well symbolized by leathery perfumes. And the one that I chose for this occasion to talk about that kind of sexiness is Damn Blonde by Serge Lutens. It's often compared with classic Bottega Veneta, but oddly enough it's actually cheaper online. And it's definitely, when you're buying Serge Lutens, you're buying niche. You're buying impeccable styling. And again, everything about this bottle makes you think of these kind of just like heartless, cold-blooded women from Wall Street. Yeah, I find that it perfectly fits the bill for this particular type of sexiness. Alright, you want it sexy? I got you all the flavors, everything you could think of. Now you let me know, what kind of fragrance do you find that... It actually goes both ways, right? There are some fragrances that make us feel sexy, and there are some fragrances that we find attractive and seductive on other people. Either way works, just let me know. Let me know what kind of fragrances attract you, or put you in a particular mood. It would be very interesting to discover. On that note, I'm not saying goodbye, I'm saying I'll see you in the next video. Please like and subscribe if you like this video. Stay with me, that's gonna be fun. We have a lot planned ahead.